creature like that? How would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Why, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. It's horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Okay, and then they put it by like metal frames over their bed. I'm not sure what it's supposed to do, but dude charges a lot of money for them.
I've seen the guy on Instagram. Is it Instagram? And he's like out in the woods, usually sitting on a tree stump talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or he'll have two or
somewhere in Central California.
Yeah. or he'll have like 3 or 4 of them on a tree stump, and he's got like a walking stick in his hand usually. I know what you're talking about. I've seen these videos.
But I've also seen an interesting video of them taking it's not a pyramid shape. This thing kind of looks like a sombrero, but it's a bunch of different metals in some sort of a resin cast, and they set it on top of a cup of water while they freeze it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does do a weird and interesting thing, right?
What does it do?
Well, so they have a cup right next to it freezing, and they have a cup with the sombrero thing sitting on it, and it does this weird thing with the stress line. You know how there's always like white bubbles and stuff in the water?
Yeah.
So where the one makes like a cloudy like center in it, the other one makes these like streaming lines going up towards the almost like it would make a circle right through the sombrero.
I don't know.
$19.99 that can be yours too.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it's you know, it's a thing that's out there on the internet. So
maybe something with magnetism.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because they basically made a big sort of magnet in a way, or at least something responsive to electromagnetism.
Right.
Or they'll make one and they'll put it over like they'll put fog underneath it and it'll seem to be drawing the fog up through it. Or blowing paper when they hold it over the hole in the middle like it's pushing energy in some direction. I don't know.
Anywho, welcome in, everybody. Welcome. We're this is season 2, episode 4 of Beyond the Shadows podcast, where we try to suss out the good from the bad, the pretty from the ugly, the smart from me. We are your intrepid paranormal investigators. My name is Victus.
I am Aeon.
And I'm Paul.
And tonight,
hello, everybody.
You have no idea what we're doing.
No.
Paul knows because he's seen the title of the stream.
He acted like he thinks it's something else, though. So
yeah, you'll get it here in just a second. You're about to go, oh, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So tonight, we're going to cover the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I thought they caught him.
And what was that guy?
Well, he was a lot of
Night,
Golden Gate
the
Killer?
Golden State Unaliver.
Night Stalker? Isn't that what they call him?
No, that was somebody else.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. But I literally just found a website that lists every single cryptid. And I just scrolled and boop, this is what we're doing this week. Well, I did it a few times because like a couple of them was like, here's one paragraph. It's all we can tell you.
Gotcha. Something somebody just made up.
But the Fresno Nightcrawler, we have photos and video evidence tonight.
Oh, excellent.
Video and photo. Ha ha ha. So, before we get too far into it, let's do our little mini segment. What shirt are you wearing tonight? Let's see it. What is it? Welcome to the neighborhood. Is that Simpsons?
Yeah.
It is.
Bart and
Yeah,
all the
Bart
all
and the
bullies.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the other ne'er do wells from.
What do you got, Paul?
I have a collared polo and this nice jacket.
I like the jacket. It
All
cuts
black.
well. Oh, black.
All black.
Got. You
Uh,
had me in stitches. It's
Uh,
Frankenstein's monster in the Bride of Frankenstein. Ironically, it's never been named the Bride of Frankenstein's monster. It was always the Bride of Frankenstein. It makes you wonder.
he
he
made
make
it for himself, but she was really dumb, so he
Yeah.
just he
That's
made it
what
for
happened.
himself, but turned out being married to a reassembled corpse isn't super great.
Actually got this at Walmart.
Really,
Constantly
that's
looking.
where all mine come from.
It's constantly looking. I got this one, and then I got a new Misfits shirt. I'll wear that one probably next week because I love the Misfits. And then I got a couple others. Have you seen the carrot shirts?
Mm-mm.
So
What
I
are
read a little bit into it. It's a not-for-profit farm,
Mm-hmm.
and the money that would be made as profit goes towards making clothing. That when you buy the clothing, it helps them buy clothing for homeless people and perpetuates sustainability. Goes back into like planting trees and rebuilding the environment. But the company's called Carrots.
Oh dang! I thought you were gonna say there were new shirts made out of carrots.
No. But they are really dope, and it's just solid. They've got just solid colors, and it just says across the front, Carrots. And at first
Alright.
I picked it up, and I was like, "Ah, that's so ironic. I love it." And then I felt it. I was like, "This feels better than like most shirts I've ever touched. Super thick, and then the print is like raised. You'll see. Maybe I'll wear that one.
like the foam,
Yeah,
the
but
foam
almost
screen on.
yeah. But
They bake
it's
it
like
afterwards. They go.
it's like that, but it's also like pressed into the fabric. So
Oh,
from
okay.
the inside, it has an indentation, but from the outside, it has a raised portion.
Okay.
It's a really weird print, but cool little shirt, and the money goes into sustainability and all this other stuff. But they stock these shirts, then within a few days, everything's sold out.
So the reason I thought you were gonna say the shirts were made out of carrots is I have a Coca-Cola shirt that is made out of recycled Coca-Cola bottles. They made
Really?
fabric out of it, and it's one of the softest, most durable T-shirts I ever bought, and it was like $5 at the time. And all the ones they had, just all it was different colors with different colored Coca-Cola labels on them or logos on them. But it's like it's soon to be 20 years old. Still doesn't have a
Wow.
hole in it.
Jeez.
Yeah, super soft and light, great in the summer. Feels like a
Uh,
t-shirt. I mean, doesn't feel like a workout shirt or plastic shirt, you know.
Right.
But and then I had one for a while called a red dirt shirt.
hmm
It was from a shop in Arizona that literally dyes all their fabric with red dirt
Oh, that's
from the
cool.
desert. So they're all like a rusty color. So that you said carrot, and I was like, oh sweet, they're making shirts out of carrots now. But no.
Nope, not that website.
So it's
Hold on.
it's like the Toms of t-shirts.
So
Or the Bomba socks of t-shirts.
the Bomba sucks.
You know, you buy a pair, they give a pair. You
Right.
know, same with Toms. You buy a pair of Toms, they give a pair of Toms.
Right, and that's what Carrots does. It's I haven't dug into it too much, but okay, just making sure. I was checking out, um, seeing who was in chat already. I got speech chat up anyway. But yeah, you'll see. It's cool. It's just they've got one that just says Carrots, and then there's one that's got like the farm logo, and then the back has the logo for the farm big. But I like the one that says Carrots because I'm simple. I'm a simpleton. So we are covering the Nightcrawler, the Fresno Nightcrawler, but
Fresno Nightcrawler.
before we do, I want to throw one little tiny side story in here.
Okay.
So this is actually from where'd it go?
I would not have thought this was a cryptid by the name.
The Nightcrawler, really?
The Fresno Nightcrawler. No, I would have
I thought
actually
it was a
thought.
hard-working lady of the evening.
No, I would have thought. Yeah, that Fresno Nightcrawler. That'd be an awful name for a lady of the night.
Well, I looked at it because Nightcrawler on X-Men was one of my favorites. Nightcrawler and Gambit were my go-tos, always have been.
I would have thought this was a specter or a haunting or something, based on the name.
Well, it's got a few different things that people think they are. We'll get to it. It's fun. It could either be a cryptid, a ghost, or an alien.
Oh, sweet.
So we get all three in one tonight. But this was something I wanted to bring up. I was thumbing through some old files, and I remember we had a cryptid sighting in 2022. Made headlines in Texas.
Where? What was it?
So,
Or what did it appear to be?
let me read this. Amarillo, Texas. What's the date on this? Where'd it go? Dang it, I closed it. Hold on. For some reason, I didn't put the date on this, but the picture I'm going to show you has a date. 5/21/2022.
Oh, okay.
Is that May 21?
Yeah.
May 20. That's my that's the day that I got out of cryostasis. Not the year, but the day. Anywho, May 21.
Hey, you look pretty thought out for just 2 years ago.
Thank you.
Keeps you young.
Amarillo, Texas, around 1:25 a.m., May 21 of 2022. Security cameras inside a perimeter fence at the Amarillo Zoo, Texas. Amarillo Zoo in Texas captured a strange image outside the zoo. Now, the city of Amarillo is seeking the public's input to help solve the mystery. Was it a person with a strange hat who likes to walk at night? A large coyote on his hind legs? A chupacabra? For now, the strange visitor is an unidentified Amarillo object, according to the news release. You ready to see this thing?
Yeah, let's see it. Unidentified Amarillo object. That's silly.
First of all, how come cryptids only come out at night?
Right?
Well, that's how they're cryptids. It's harder to study them at night. Otherwise, they'd just be that thing that you see every day along the side of the road. I think most cryptids are probably semi-nocturnal.
Gotta
Hence
be,
why it's
right?
hard to find them. Yeah, because it's hard to find them. Skinwalkers, all that. They're all just, that's part of the problem. If they were just, otherwise you just call them, daywalkers.
Right? That's what I called people that work during the day when I worked at night shift.
Daywalkers.
Daywalkers, yeah. But this is, they
pretty weird.
Still to this day, legit don't know what it was. Like they went out there the next day and they found like a cut through the bushes and through the trees where it walked through. They don't know what the hell it was. Well, weird.
It's a not Yodi.
Not Yodi, yeah. Not Yote.
Mm-hmm. It does have a coyote looking sort of top half, but he looks like he's wearing skinny jeans.
So there are two. So this is one of the cheaper security systems that you can get, where you don't get a good smooth video, but instead what you're getting is stills
Clip.
every couple seconds. So
Mhm.
this is the most clear of the three images. The other two are just a blurry mess.
Was
So
it running?
It was walking. It took a few seconds to cross this section, but this is the best one. This is the picture that made it on the news. This made it up to USA Today. That's pretty big for a cryptid.
Famous cryptid.
Famous
Overnight.
cryptid.
Has
I'm
it
really-
ever been seen again? Other than in that guy's mama's basement.
No, just the basement.
Yeah.
Just the basement.
I'm kind of with Aeon. I see those skinny jeans on there. I don't
I mean, Wolfman. You know, Wolfman.
Yeah.
Hold on. Where's
I mean,
the sound I'm looking for?
I mean, they even made a. They even what's his name was even in a documentary about it in the 80s.
Who's that?
I think they called it Teen Wolf.
I had my finger on the trigger. I was ready. Oh look! Can you tell that I used my
Yes.
fingertip to touch up my hair dye?
Yeah, I know. I wondered what that was when it glowed earlier.
It's like,
That's
very
funny.
Cool.
Because
Yep.
there's always this one little spot that I always can't get, so it's easier just to do this. And I'm like, is it good?
Yeah, your
So-
hair is radioactive tonight. It looks good.
This is special UV reactive hair dye,
Oh, nice.
and it's
Oh, it
vegan
is.
and cruelty free.
Oh, well, there you go.
It smells wonderful. It also has to do partially with this wonderful candle burning behind me, but
Does it taste good?
Yeah,
Does it taste good too?
actually no, because I put leave-in conditioner.
I'm just glad you tried it.
Thanks. Well, there you go. Wait, I got a sound for that. I'm trying like hell to get. So I spent the majority of the day trying to figure out how to get the stupid soundboard on Discord to be triggerable by my MIDI controller. I can set it up to where the MIDI controller works in OBS and the people in the stream hear it,
But we won't.
but y'all won't. So, yeah, I've been wrestling with this all day. I've installed so much malicious software in my computer, trying to get. I don't want to say malicious. It's, but when you
software Windows did not approve.
well, yeah, technically yes, because what I'm doing is I'm downloading stuff from that people have made off of GitHub. And when you try to install it, Windows pops up and says, "This isn't a trusted developer." And it says developer unknown because it's a nobody. It's a kid in his basement coding for fun. But I tried 5 or 6 different things today and I just couldn't get it. I thought I got close at one point, but it just wasn't close enough.
It's funny because on Mac there's just a program that comes with it called Audio MIDI Router.
Yeah.
And you can send audio from anything to anything on your computer.
Well, I think, if I really wanted to, like, I could set up a MIDI controller on my phone or something, and then route it through the mixer into the, or from my phone, a headphone jack into the computer and run it that way, whatever. But
Oh, like a mic?
yeah, I just don't want to deal with all that. It'd be easier just to use the stuff that's already here, if you ask me.
Oh, they got some free apps for your phone that are like a
Yeah, I've paid for one.
sampler, like a little sampler, and you can just load the sounds into the sampler.
Yeah, I just want something to trigger sounds, but it has to be sounds triggered. Well, it would have to be like a soundboard, like a MIDI controller.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the MIDI controller, I've got the sounds. I just need a way to make the two work. But
I like the headphone jack idea.
it's I actually only have one USB port, one USB-A in this laptop that I'm using.
Oh, I see.
So, in order to put it like an audio in, I would have to bring my USB-C Thunderbolt dock in here and then hook that up as a mic through the Thunderbolt dock into the laptop, out the laptop, to Discord, to the stream, to y'all.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. It's never easy to do the things you want to do. Streaming is complicated. It really is.
Streaming is complicated. That's why people spend quite a bit of money on rigs once you start
Mhm.
really doing it. All right. Well, tell us about the Nightcrawler.
I'm going to tell you about the Nightcrawler.
Tell me about Nightcrawler.
I'm going to freaking tell you.
People over in Fresno
Do it.
were leaving Our Lady of the Evening. They looked over, and what did they spy but the Nightcrawler?
The Nightcrawler. The Nightcrawler. Oh,
Yeah, what kind of things must you be into? Not the night person, not the that's cool. I like that. But the night crawler.
one of the bunnies
Oh,
one of the bunnies is saying, "Is that a Bigfoot?" And the other one's saying, "Oh my God, is that a payphone?" Sorry,
That's about right.
didn't even
about
know I
it
had
there.
this cup. I asked my wife. I was like, "Where did we get this cup?" And she's like, "We got that for you like 2 years ago." I was like, "Never seen this cup. Otherwise, it'd be sitting on my desk." I do a
It's like,
paranormal podcast. Why wouldn't it
First
be on
time
my
it's
desk?
getting used.
I believe she snuck it in there, thinking it was cool. I had to check, make sure she wasn't peeking through the door. But I think she snuck it in there and acted like it was a Christmas present. Whatever. It's fine. That's fine. It's all good. So,
Conspiracies on conspiracies.
conspiracies. Ah, jeez. So, you'll be pleased to know that when it comes to the Fresno Nightcrawler, the wonderful software that I use for collating information, aka ChatGTP, calls it the enigmatic Fresno Nightcrawler.
Is that more of its I'm a writer writing a script stuff? Or
No,
is that
it's just information at this point. It's just information. Yeah, it's it was fun doing the creative stuff, but
Mhm.
this has some eyewitnesses, but it's hard to really. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much. It's going to bias your decision on the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Gotcha.
So, let me reload my orange juice. Oh no, I don't want that one. Voodoo Ranger. Tropical Force. My new obsession. Orange juice. Whoa. I didn't make a mess, I promise. I'm glad y'all can't see my shorts. Jeez.
I knocked a Red Bull straight into my keyboard like months ago,
Ugh.
and it works fine. I mean, the keyboard doesn't know any different, but there's like a section of keys that I had. I mean, it's a clicky board, right? So
Yeah.
I just popped them all off, and like had to clean the syrupy stuff out of it because they got to where like you'd press the enter and it'd just stay down.
Oh,
Or any of the arrow
worst.
keys, they just stay down, so you had to like pull them
The
back
worst.
up. Yeah, I hated it. So I finally popped them all off and cleaned them.
All right. Fresno Nightcrawler. So, before we get started, have either one of you even heard of this before?
No.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay,
I've
so
heard of
I have.
a bunch of different California serial killers with creative names like that, but no.
So if you remember, not the last rapid fire, or maybe it was the one before. We were watching. No, we were watching some video. It was the first video we had Thermore in here.
Mhm.
Thermore commented, "Oh, that looks like a Nightcrawler."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm surprised y'all didn't catch on that.
I did not.
Anywhoots, so I'm pleased to come up with something that y'all haven't heard of before. I'm excited. I've seen a little bit of this. I've seen enough to know that it's probably not AI.
Okay.
Probably,
Probably.
but it is weird. So let me slap this information on you. The world of cryptids, mysterious creatures whose existence remains unverified by science, is rich with folklore, myths, and modern sightings. Among the many cryptids that have captured public imagination, the Fresno Nightcrawler stands out due to its peculiar appearance and the limited number of sightings. The first recorded in the late 2000s in Fresno, California, this cryptid has become an internet sensation, spawning numerous theories, debates, and even artistic interpretations. And tonight we're going to explore the characteristics, possible explanations, and cultural impact of the Fresno Nightcrawler, shedding light on why its strange entity continues to fascinate cryptid enthusiasts to this day. So,
This day?
this day.
This
This
day?
one.
Okay.
Not that
Okay.
one. This one.
This one. Got it.
So, if you had to guess what a Nightcrawler from Fresno looked like, and if you say fishnets, I'm going to come through this camera and strangle you.
um,
Well, I'm fresh out of answers then. Because that's kind of what I thought. I sort of thought red is just so typical. So I was thinking black patent pumps of some sort.
I really want people to be seeing a giant man-sized centipede-like thing,
Oh,
but I feel like it's more like a skinny gremlin-like humanoid,
ooh.
but bigger than a gremlin, like but that sort of like rangy, skinny, like horrifying sort of thing, skinwalker-ish, is what I
Okay.
imagine we're actually going to have, something humanoid. But I really wanted it to be a giant, like millipede,
Ooh.
walking like this, right? It's like just walking on its little legs in the back.
Like the back legs on the ground, but his upper torso
His upper
area
legs
is
are all
elevated?
his upper legs and his mouth. Yeah, so you can see, so it doesn't get hit by cars.
Right. Right.
Because it's California, they drive
Fresno.
like crap. Yeah, they drive like crap. First time I ever heard of a California pass was staying in Ventura, and I was like, "What's a California pass?" It's when you have no turning lane and no side shoulder, and there's oncoming traffic, and you just dip around real fast anyway, or somebody
Yeah.
just doesn't go fast enough at a stop sign, and you just take off around them right through the stop sign.
Yeah. I've heard of a California stop.
Yeah, and then there's where you just roll through it.
Yeah.
Basically,
Where
you slow down.
roll,
You
roll
slow
just
down to
like
like half.
Fresno cop.
Yeah, half the speed limit, or a couple mile an hour, and roll through it. But no, it was California pass. I was like, that. Yeah. So what I was seeing was at stop signs, someone would stop, and I guess the person behind him just thought they were taking too long to respond, and they just and go right
they would-
around and through the stop sign. Yeah.
They would
Not
hate
stop.
me in California. They would hate me.
Right.
I drive the speed limit. I slowly brake at stop signs. I stop at red lights, even if I'm turning right. And if I
Dang.
think the light's going to turn yellow, I'm going to start slowing down. But yeah, I
Yeah.
swear, I'm the last person in the state of Virginia that drives a speed limit. So here I am. Find me.
Causing
I'll fight
wrecks.
you. Yeah. No, seriously, look, because like everybody here drives like a madman. We got sleet yesterday for like 20 minutes,
Well, that
Just a
means
little
you should
bit.
speed home so you don't get hurt out in that.
right? And it's crazy because it was like 45 degrees. It was warm-ish, right?
Mhm.
And it sleeted. It sleeted enough to say that it sleeted.
Right. Turn the
In
road to snot.
in the 5 miles north and south of me, 17 accidents yesterday.
Yep. That's what happens
because
here when
nobody drives
like
the
the
speed
first
limit.
big rain of like the spring.
Oh yeah,
They'll be like,
hydroplaners.
yeah, there'll be like 6 or 7 cars off the off
Yeah,
the
in the
highway
ditch.
between Bentonville and Fayetteville. Like I used to count them on the way back from yoga on like Saturday morning. I'd be coming back and it'd be raining. I'd be like, 1, 2, and what's worse is it'll be like a crossover SUV. So they were just like, whatever. I'm in an SUV. I don't have to pay attention. It's made for this, and they right off the road.
Yeah, people don't understand over here. So I'm on the East Coast. Everything that we drive on here is man-made because this was all swamp, marshy when
Yep.
before colonial Americans came along, and so everything's dead flat. There are no hills. Hydroplaners all the time, all the freaking time, and I guess they don't understand that water sits on a flat surface; it doesn't run off. So it's
Mhm.
just I'm rambling too much. Anyway, let's let's get into this Fresno Nightcrawler, man. I'm sorry. So, now that we know what y'all think the Fresno Nightcrawler looks like, I'm going to give you two an option. Do you want to see an artist's interpretation first, or do you want to see the video I'm about to talk about?
The video.
I was gonna say I kind of wanted to see the drawing, but
Okay, yeah, I was thinking the artist interpretation would be better for clarity. You guys want a paper, rock, scissors for it?
I'm
We'll just see it.
always curious because some of the renderings people do of like the thing they saw, right? Like
Yeah.
aliens or whatever. It's all it's always really bad. So
Well, if it's like me, I spend so much time in court. I've really become a court illustrator.
Oh, have
It's
you?
amazing. I have. It's just
Boredom
something-
boredom
I
doodles?
mean, it is something else.
yeah, it's iPad stick figures.
It is not. You could tell exactly what I was going for.
Interesting. Well, I was planning on showing you the artist interpretation, but if it was a split vote, I was going to have to veto. So, sorry, Paul. I'm going to show you.
So it's
I'm
gonna be
sh-
that either way.
Great. Glad you all had your input. But we're gonna do this anyway.
Well,
No, I
at
just-
least I could show you the artist interpretation first, so you get an idea, and then when you
All
see the video, you kind of see what's going on.
It just seems like every artist's interpretation was done by like a guy with like no thumb and like 3 fingers,
Yeah,
and,
who's
and
not-
one of those big special kid crayons.
Who's not an artist?
Okay, so this one is actually good.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good. That'll be
You
nice.
ready?
Yep.
That's what people are seeing.
This is what people are seeing.
Holy
You know they're
crap!
high over
It's
there in California.
it's a wing wang with legs.
So, what I thought of when I first saw it,
He has
Well,
high
Silent Hill.
pants on.
Was what?
Silent Hill. So, what's the? Let me pull up the thing I'm thinking of. I don't know what they're called. The thing. Yeah, this thing. This is what I was picturing.
Oh, the bound up body,
Yeah.
all bound up in skin. It's just legs.
This is what I was thinking of when I saw the Nightcrawler for the first time.
It looks
Mm.
like
So
he
this-
has platform shoes on, so I can see
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, this is more of a night walker instead of a night crawler. But
The night
Um,
gimp.
yeah,
It's
Silent
really
Hill.
an evening. It's really an evening crawler.
Yeah, if y'all haven't played Silent Hill, you're missing out. I'm just saying. Go back and play the originals on PS1 before you do the new stuff. You really appreciate the new stuff when you.
I might
you
have it on
replay
that
the-
little retro console if it was PS1. If they had it on PS1,
I got it on my
probably
Steam Deck.
available
I
on
love
that
it.
on that little retro pocket game I got.
It's good. You should play it. Small Silent Hill bit of lore-ish, sorta.
More?
So my last name is the same as a famous science fiction author. And if you are in the original Silent Hill on PS1 and you look at the map of the town, one of the names is one of the street names is my last name,
Oh,
which is
some
weird
deep lore
because
there.
y'all know my last name
Yeah.
and it's not super common.
Gerstukenfelden.
Gerstukenfelden, yeah.
I mean, it's very common in rural parts of Germany, but not so much.
Gerstukenfelden Avenue.
Yeah,
Gerstukenfelden
Avenue.
Boulevard.
Yeah.
We're gonna rock down to Gerstuken Avenue. Gerstukenfeldenville Avenue.
I was trying to think of
Okay.
something funny, but I could only think of Gerstunkenflunk
It's Hubbard, isn't it?
from the
It's-
Spawner song.
It's Hubbard,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh my god, Elron. That's terrible. Science fiction writer.
So-
Wah, wah.
I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts yesterday, and This Paranormal Life. If you don't listen to This Paranormal Life, y'all need to go out and broaden your horizons. You don't know what you're missing. And they were talking about the origin of Old MacDonald, and they were talking about maybe he had a form of Tourette's.
He had a farm.
And he was like, I got a farm. A-E-I-O-U.
That's
And I got a chicken.
terrible.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, let's get on to the origins
Or-
and sightings.
Or Farmer McDonald.
O-E-I-O-U. Oh, wait, what is it? Old MacDonald had a farm.
E-I-E-I-O.
E-I-E-I-O. A-E-I-O-U. That's the vowels. And I said I hadn't drank enough. Jeez.
All the things we learned from school.
Right.
They all
So
collide together over the years.
they mash together. No, that wasn't really a fairy tale. That was more like a nursery rhyme, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the first known sighting of the Fresno Nightcrawler occurred in November 2007 in Fresno, California, when a man named Jose recorded footage of the creature on his home security camera. The video, which aired on local news stations and later featured on the television show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files, depicted a pair of long-legged beings with small torsos walking eerily through a yard. Their smooth gliding motion and lack of discernible arms or head made them an immediate subject of intrigue. Do you want to see the video?
Yep.
Kind of like
I mean-
if a sperm grew a second tail.
Almost.
Kinda.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to.
Or just
Make
somebody
sure.
with a white garbage bag tucked up all weird.
All right.
Original
So
footage.
this clip has been zoomed and cropped a little bit, and then they zooms in a couple
Little bit.
more times. It gets a little crazy, but bear with me. Here we
Hey,
go.
Look how big them numbers is.
Yeah, those are big numbers.
Look at them numbers.
Look at them, their numbers.
Those are supposed to be unobtrusive.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
Oh, that's a little
Oh, it's-
weird.
It is weird. Weird. It has a really weird gait.
Hmm. So I was gonna already propose a cartridge for my gun to shoot it down, except I saw something in the video that threw that out the window, so never mind.
So they went through and did an emboss, in fact, and you could see things a lot more clearly. Here in a second, anyway. Sorry,
I see
video.
see him coming.
Yeah. It's just weird, man. Really weird.
Huh. That is weird. Hmm.
Oh, what does it say? Are those eyes? Ooh, I didn't see
Oh.
that.
All right.
Let's. It's too zoomed in now.
Oh, that's yeah. Now you can't really make out. I mean-
It's better on Discord than it is on my screen. When it's 50 inches across, it doesn't look good at all.
Ugh.
All right, let's go back. I want to see the eyes. Ooh, yeah, there's eyes there. Watch right there. Eyes will be here, just below the last digit.
Yep. Or
It-
goggles.
It's a weird one, man. Yeah, you can almost see them above the numbers too. Right. Nope. Oh, I missed it by a frame.
Is this
Sorta
the only
eyes.
video?
This is one of two.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's definitely eyes there. Oh, ugh. Okay, so we're gonna find a good spot to pause this, so you can stare at its weirdness while I talk. Okay, so this was 2007 in Fresno, California. This is a security camera, so I can attest that security cameras at night don't
Mhm.
look great. So like
No.
I've got night vision cameras. I paid
Mhm.
decent money for these things. Even at
Mhm.
night, it doesn't look good. So like there's been a few
Yeah.
times where some stuff has happened in my neighborhood where I pulled up stuff and zoomed in trying to see some stuff, see some license plates, just saying. Um Once you zoom in, you lose clarity on a 100%.
Yeah.
This is zoomed into death.
Mm-hmm.
So
Those numbers are
let's
huge.
let's just throw into comparison the picture of the cryptid.
Yeah. Where they're just little
Yeah, so let's zoom in.
till they're that big. Yeah.
Yeah,
There
look
you
at
go.
that.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the heck's going on over here. So so like I could zoom into this at this point. What are you looking at, right?
I mean, I just think he's a dude out looking for a party and a basketball game to win. Just saying.
Maybe that's it. The
Whoa.
Fresno Nightcrawler is an OG basketball champ.
With them legs and no other body.
Them legs. So I did. Geez, I wish I would have saved the link. So there was a link that had this video, and that's where I downloaded it from. But it's like here we have, and if you click this link, there's a video of the Fresno Nightcrawler in broad daylight, and I was like, oh, cool. So I click on it, and it's that episode of Family Guy where Peter has the really long legs, and like he's walking on the street, and somebody drives by. Hey, those legs go all the way up, and he's like, yeah, they do. It takes his skirt off, and it's just legs and a head.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Yeah, I remember that.
dang. So this was 2007, Fresno.
Okay.
A second similar sighting occurred in March 2011 in Yosemite National Park, where security cameras purportedly captured footage of creatures resembling those of the Fresno footage. These two main instances are the primary visual evidence of night crawlers, but their legitimacy remains a topic of debate. While some believe that these videos provide strong evidence of an unknown entity, others argue they could be hoaxes involving puppetry or digital manipulation. I don't know how somebody's going to make a puppet that you can manipulate from a couple hundred feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think we could definitely rule out a puppet.
Yeah, I don't know about a puppet. That seems unlikely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't
But-
know about a puppet.
Do you want to see video number 2?
Let's see video number 2.
All right. So video number 2 is a little bit better
I
in
hope so.
ways. In ways.
Oh. 2 of them?
2.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this brings to light something that I wanted to point out. There are numerous reports, especially in national parks. So this is in Yosemite. This video was captured by security cameras in Yosemite National Park. The majority of reports come from Yosemite, or not Yosemite, but come from national parks, and they're always deep in the woods, in the middle of the night when you're by yourself, of course.
Right.
But it was the reports from the national parks outside of Fresno that talked about how some of these would have longer legs and be very tall, and some of them would have shorter legs and be really short, and there would be some in between. Like, I don't know. I want to pull up this picture. Let me pull up this picture I was looking at. Let's see some pictures. Like this.
Oh, like really big.
Oh, come on. Where'd it go? That's a deer. Yeah.
Oh. Huh.
Like some are huge, gigantic. Some are fat. Some are short. Some are tall. Some are skinny.
Guess it makes sense.
And pay no mind to the pants sign at the corner. This is an artist's interpretation. Pants crossing.
Pants crossing.
Have you ever seen Princess Mononoke?
Yes.
The anime?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the forest spirits?
Yeah, with little spinny heads.
Yeah.
And the clicky noises.
That's what I thought of.
Except they're like Pillsbury Doughboys with no arms and extra eyes.
This is what I thought of.
Okay.
So the reason I say this is because the majority of the sightings are in national forests. So it makes me wonder, tree spirits? Question mark.
Gotcha. I mean, you know, I was kind of in my head reaching into the fantasy realm. Because those ones on the second video, the leg structures, like it looks like fabric-ish or fur-ish in the first one. In the second one, it almost looks like if curtains were made out of like a bunch of thin strands, right? But not actually woven together, like one half of the weave, but not the weave that the weft, not the warp. I'm not sure.
Anyway. What?
You know, like when you weave it, there's weft and warp. Weaving terms. Anyway, to make it go like this, right? So the fabric holds to itself, but instead of that, just one direction. And it made me think of roots. And the only thing that would have that small of a top with that much roots are mushrooms. Mushroom mycelia. And so I started thinking in my head, walking, you know, mushrooms pulling themselves up out the ground and walking around in their mycelia.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I don't think that's what it is, but I'm saying that's what I started to think. Because the legs don't even seem strong. It's almost like they're swinging.
Like barely able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're going downhill. Like the one in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he's got his speed going. Oh Lord, I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
You ever ran full speed downhill, and then at about 2 seconds after you get to top speed, you realize you have no control over where you're going.
Or a way to stop.
That's the guy in the background over there. Oh Lord, I'm moving so fast. The wind blowing through his hair.
So that video's in Yosemite.
This is in Yosemite, yeah. This was officially released by Yosemite National Park.
Interesting.
Right?
I guess it might be easier to do puppets in Yosemite because you got high tree cover everywhere. But because this reminds me of those really simple marionettes that are. It's just a crossed stick, and
Right.
it looks sort of like a bird, but it's got a ball for a body and a ball for a head with a little springy neck, and then
Oh, and
two
they-
legs. Yeah, and you sort of like do this with your hand. It makes it look like it's bobbing its head and walking kind of like a bird, and that's almost what this reminds me of a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It does feel like, sure, could be puppetry, but
It's super weird.
I'm looking at the scale of these. Like see the tree it passes in front of?
Uh-huh.
Off at a distance, he's wider than the tree. So how big of a set of rigging would you need in a state park in the middle of the night, which we all know parks close at 10?
I don't know.
Hold on.
No.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
I
Let's
don't-
find out.
Well, I meant about the rigging and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. It almost looks like it's made out of tissue paper or silk, kind of.
Close for the night.
24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Okay, does not close at night. However, in order to operate 2 independent puppets, so we're looking. So here we're seeing branches, the tops of these, or branches and these trees above it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how tall would the rigging need to be off at a distance to be controlling these? A
I was
couple hundred
thinking,
feet in the air.
I was thinking like strung from one tree to another, kind of thing. I'm just trying to think if I was going to try to make this video, what would I do to make the video non-digitally, right? So that you could have it. I mean, I'm not coming up with a lot of great solutions, but
Yeah, I can't think of an easy way.
it just looks so weird.
And then in order to go into the park, you got to pass. So like I live near a really big state park and a big nature reserve. And before can even go in, you've got to pass through a booth where somebody is sitting and watching.
Mm-hmm.
What it would take to make these puppet wise and have it in your vehicle pass through in the middle of the night seems a little unlikely. The gate is
Yeah.
strange, sure, but I feel like they're legitimately touching the ground. The gate is
What-
weird, but imagine if your hips are up by your shoulders. How would you walk?
So here was what I was seeing in my mind for rigging. If you're gonna make this out, make this puppet right, because the head pretty much stays at the same slope to the ground,
Yeah.
right? And the feet mostly just pull forward. So what I'm imagining is kind of simple. You have the top part, right, strung around its ball-shaped head up to a single climbing line that you've strung between trees. And then you have fishing line on the feet, long ass things of fishing line, and you're just doing this. Just grabbing the line and pulling it towards you a little bit for the feet. And then the gravity of the hill is moving the head. Now this doesn't explain the video from Fresno at all. But
Yeah,
It's really odd.
it is.
What other information do we have about this? We have these 2 videos. We have all the artist stuff. Is there what else do we have?
Okay,
I
we
don't
got-
think there's enough for us to know much from this, but it's just really weird.
Well, we got some more
I've
information.
never- I've never heard of this.
So let's talk a little more about it. Additional firsthand accounts have surfaced over the years, though none with concrete video evidence. In October of 2014, a woman in Carmel, Ohio, claimed to have seen a creature resembling the Nightcrawler while driving late at night. She described it as a pale, stick-like figure with an eerie, fluid motion. Another report from a camper in Sierra Nevada mountains in 2017 detailed a strange encounter where they saw two tall, thin beings walking silently through the woods and vanishing before they could be properly observed. In May of 2020, a hiker near Mount Shasta, California, reported seeing a similar entity during an early morning trek. According to the witnesses, the figure moved soundlessly, appearing and disappearing behind trees in a manner that seemed unnatural. Although these stories remain anecdotal, they add to the growing mystery of the Nightcrawler. So this brings me back to tree spirits.
Okay.
This makes me feel like Nightcrawlers, the Fresno Nightcrawler, is a tree spirit.
So what's they doing in the middle of a parking lot with rusty rigs and razor blades?
I don't know, man.
Let me text a friend.
They like that juice. They like that juice.
Let me text a friend who, among other things, has done fish hatchery stuff and rangers at State Park and maybe Federal Park.
You know,
now
that this comes up, my mother-in-law works at a state park.
Mm-hmm.
I've never once talked to her about, because her office is in the middle of the state park.
What about stairs? Has she ever seen the stairs?
You know, that's something I want to bring up, but I don't want to bring up.
You should bring it up.
I will ask her next time I sit down with her. I'm going to talk to her about it. I will, because unfortunately, she's getting caught up in this Trump budget cut thing, and she's actually been asked to resign. Because it's a federal job.
Yeah,
and he's cutting federal funding, and she's riding it out to see if maybe he's going to change his mind last minute. So I feel like, the consensus with national state park workers are, we don't talk about the stuff that happens in the park, the weird stuff. But if you've got somebody being booted, maybe
they might. Yeah, because I want to know if she's ever seen the stairs.
Yeah, the stairs. Oh my gosh, do you not know, Paul?
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
it was just all artist drawing, though.
Well, the pictures that you find online are just like sculptures and other stuff, but wilderness responders report running into them when they're out there by themselves, looking, cutting a trail to look for missing people. They report seeing these stairs, and some people report lost time when they've gone up the stairs, and they come back down, and it's hours later.
For those of you interested, check us out on Spotify or YouTube. Go back to season 1. It's called the Scramble episode.
That's right. I forgot about that.
We had planned like an amazing, this is going to be a great cryptid to research, and I can't wait. And I had trouble getting contact with Aeon, so instead of the information I was able to pull forward for the cryptid was 4 sentences, and I'm like, how are we going to fill a whole hour and a half or so with 4 sentences? I was like, sure, we could ramble for a little while. And last second, I grabbed stories from National State Park Forest Search and Rescue. And they talked about the stairs, and they are horrifying. The stairs, and they are so prominent that they made a movie a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, wild stuff. I wanted to cover that as a full episode, but I wasn't sure if we could do a full episode without dipping into too much of copyrighted material.
Yeah.
Because the guy that's got all the good stories is technically copyrighted, and you've got to email this guy in order to talk about a lot of his stuff, and he is unresponsive. I tried.
Yeah.
So
we just went for it.
Yeah, we dived off it. Fortunately, it did come up on YouTube. It said copyrighted material, but the owner allows use in your format.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, this video's just weird. That's all I got.
It is weird. I can't see
the one in the background's almost like an AT walker.
Yeah.
He's got more of that kind of movement, whereas the other one's more like 2 fingers, you know, trying to walk across, you know, table. But the one in the background looks like it's got like backward turned elbows, like it's, you know, got arms that's walking on instead of legs.
Yeah. And they're so weird, man. I don't see any easy logical explanation. So like I say easy, I mean like crop circles were doable. I don't believe that the majority of crop circles are legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the people out in the field overnight with 2x4s and twine doing their thing. We've all seen the videos. We know how they're faked. I mean, that's a lot of work, but it's an amazing creative process and it's an amazing result. Whereas all we got for these is a couple weird security camera footage. You know, I feel like if I was going to go through the lengths to set up some kind of puppetry, I keep bringing up puppetry because I feel like it's the least likely. I feel like that's a lot of work for nothing. You know what I mean?
It seems like a lot of work for a very short video, but I don't know. I have a lot of friends who've spent a bunch of time in Yosemite. I've just texted some of them to see if they're...
Okay, cool. And this is why we have you, because you know so many more people than we do. So, the Fresno Nightcrawler is a uniquely shaped cryptid, distinct from the usual creatures of folklore, such as Bigfoot or the Chupacabra. Descriptions based on the videos and eyewitness accounts suggest the following characteristics. Long, slender legs. The Nightcrawler appears to be almost entirely composed of legs with a small upper body and little to no discernible head or arms. They are white or pale color. The creatures seen in the videos are light colored, often described as white or gray. Smooth gliding movement. Unlike typical bipedal creatures, Nightcrawlers move in a fluid, almost unnatural way, leading some to suggest they might not be biological. And some reports say that they are small in stature. While the exact height is debated, estimates place the Nightcrawler at around 3 to 4 feet tall, though some believe they may be smaller juvenile versions. Which brings me back to that second artist interpretation I showed you, with some are really, really tall. The bizarre nature of the Fresno Nightcrawler has led to numerous interpretations, ranging from extraterrestrial beings to undiscovered species of terrestrial life. So, you guys ready to get into some of the possible explanations, or do you got something you need to say?
You know, I don't know if this is a faked video. It would just be really weird to have such a diverse video.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the other video and put it side by side.
Yosemite and Fresno are not really next door to one another.
No, not at all. They call it the Fresno Nightcrawler because
where they first saw it.
It's where it was first seen. Yeah. Oh, I can only open one at a time.
Makes sense.
Sorry, friends. But yes, it's true. And that's why I feel like, so, you know, let's look on Google Maps. Let's find Fresno, California. Okay, we're real close to the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Real close. I didn't realize it was that close.
Yeah, pull way back.
Boom, look. National Park. National Park. National Park. National Forest. National Park. Oh, there's Yosemite right there.
Right.
So it's not that far away.
No. Wow. I thought Yosemite was much further.
When you're driving, it feels a lot further.
Okay, can y'all see all the green letters?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Fresno. It is surrounded by national forests and national parks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 national forests. Perfect semicircle around Yosemite.
I mean, that's pretty much California. National forest, blacktop.
Northern California, anyway. Yeah. Well, no, this isn't Northern California. This is, I guess you would call it Southern California, but it's close to the mountains here. What mountains are these? I don't know. I don't know this area. Wow, a lot of desert. I don't usually look over here. That's why I'm surprised.
The Sierra Nevadas.
Okay. Yeah, so let's go back to Princess Mononoke for just a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna put on my conspiracy theory hat. You ready?
Yep.
So it's extra ridiculous with my headphones on.
Yeah.
So my tinfoil hat's on. So in Princess Mononoke, the forest spirits, the ones with the little heads that bobble back and forth and
Mm-hmm.
They come out at night because the people that lived in the city of what was it? Irontown? I think it was Irontown. They were mining the mountain for the iron and cutting down trees, and the tree spirits would come out because they were doing that. So it makes me wonder, what if we're getting too close as humans to these national parks and these tree spirits are coming out?
Or all the forest fires.
Right?
Record amount of forest fires out that way.
Have you ever seen the videos of trees moving on their own accord?
So, about that particular rabbit hole.
Yes. Let's talk about it.
So I've seen stuff that purports to be, a tree moving through other trees, right? Except it seems like all the ones that I find, at least, I don't think that it's a tree walking. I think it looks like one being moved, but I have seen what looks like the trees raising out of the ground and lowering back in, raising out of the ground and lowering back in, because there's some boggy regions where the trees and the ground all basically float on a spongier substance below that soaks up most of the groundwater.
Super saturated soil and wind.
Yeah, and so the wind moves it, and it makes all the ground move. But I've seen a bunch of, social media stuff purporting to be a tree walking through the woods, taking a stroll.
Let's see if we can find a video right quick. A real tree that actually walks. You should never touch. Oh my God, ads. Ads. Sorry. We're going to mute this guy. Nope. Sorry, buddy. That tree's not actually walking.
No.
It sucks because I can't just pull these up on TikTok anymore.
Mm-hmm. TikTok had a lot.
Tons. I've seen many videos. But, I mean, we do have legitimate trees that move. So, like these trees. Let me
Talk
get
about
to
mangrove.
Yeah, these guys.
Mm-hmm.
They do move. Sure, they will uproot themselves and move to an area that has more moisture. However, the videos that Aeon and I have seen, trees off in a distance,
walking in real time,
and you see them moving like they're taking steps. Something on Lord of the Rings.
These mostly move by following the water. They put down another root in the direction of more moisture, and then old roots that aren't getting any moisture die off.
Like
so
this one
the
back
tree
here.
ends up Yeah, so the tree ends up drifting in a direction. I mean, because they don't really have a central tap root. All the roots are tap roots.
Ooh, has that been playing this whole time? Try to make this small. Maybe I can get both of these up at the same time. Is it still there? No.
No.
Dang. But that's what I think.
You think tree
So-
spirits?
Tree spirits, sure, yeah. So, like, and you and I have grown up we're about the same age. And it was drilled into us.
Darn near.
Save the trees, save the whales, deforestation.
Right.
Because, it's
Our
away.
school's always planted trees for Arbor Day,
right.
for a tree.
And it makes you wonder, at what point does Mother Nature decide to kind of fight back a little bit? Maybe this, and this is a tangent, sure, but maybe these are tree spirits that they've been cut down in California. Think about it, especially in California, the redwoods, right? Those trees have been there for millions of years. Well,
Hundreds.
hundreds, thousands of years. Thousands of years. Can you imagine any other thing that has been there for 1,000 of years and not have a spirit of some kind?
I see where you're going with it.
So maybe this is the connection between California and the Fresno Nightcrawler would be, the spirits of these redwoods that we've cut down. I don't know.
I like how you keep calling it the Nightwalker.
A Nightwalker. I can't help it. It's funny because I grew up like really, really in love with the Nightcrawler character of an X-Men, and I'm an adult, so I'm gonna call it a Nightwalker. But that's just me. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I'm trying to decide what I even think it is, and
It's hard to.
I don't have anything good. I don't have anything.
None of my friends have answered. Every single one of them have read the text I've sent them, and not a one of them.
Maybe
Well,
you should explain to them that.
Now they're all Googling.
They're Google
now.
boxing, yeah.
And then they're all sitting there. They're all, darn, what is that?
Right.
What is he talking? Is this what he's talking about? Yeah, it's weird.
Did you ask him about the stairs? Oh yeah, stairs to nowhere in the woods that appear and disappear.
Ugh.
Ask him. That'd be good.
Ask them. Ask them. Red Realm. So, we have a little more to read through.
All right.
We have possible explanations. So, despite the fascination surrounding the Fresno Nightcrawler, skeptics and investigators proposed several explanations for its existence or lack thereof. Unfortunately, number one is a hoax. Many believe the Nightcrawler is nothing more than a hoax, given that the original footage was taken in low-quality security cameras. It's plausible that a person using stilts, fabric, or puppets could have created the illusion of the creatures. Some skeptics suggest that the strings or other visual effects were used to manipulate the appearance of the Nightcrawler footage. So, I'm going to be the first to say low quality doesn't matter. I'm going to pull up my cameras around my house right now. It's dark now. And these are just a few years old, maybe 4 years old. But I'm going to zoom in. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to zoom in. It's not great.
No.
And I've seen enough people walking around in my neighborhood that when they walk down the street that's in front of me where I sit, is the street in my camera. It doesn't look great. So we've got new LED street lights, nice and bright, plus my night vision infrared cameras, which are less than 5 years old. They look worse than these videos in front of us.
Ooh, you know how you could make a really simple puppet for this? Much
Pray
simpler
tell.
than the thing I said. So you take a really gauzy sheet, right? Like these, like almost like stuff that you would see through if it wasn't bunched up like this.
Yeah.
Put little weights around the feet, tie little weights around the feet. And at the top, you have a helium balloon. Always stays upright, relatively follows it, and then
Okay.
you've got 2 pieces of fishing line.
Downhill.
Yeah, you're drawing it 1 foot at a time towards you.
You're dragging the feet.
Yeah, which is why they look like they don't really lift up. They look more like they lift up because they're going downhill.
Okay.
Not saying that's the answer. I'm just saying I'm trying to work out the mechanics of if I were gonna make a hoax, how would I do it efficiently?
Yeah. Sure, that seems like a viable. That seems the most reasonable.
You'd have
Because-
to practice to make
Yeah.
it look good.
If this is a hoax, they practice for many, many nights
Yeah.
to get it just right.
But then I wonder what's the connection between there and Fresno. So while that looks real close on the map you saw, Fresno also looks pretty close to the coast, and it's not. That's not very close.
No.
Here's my game and fish lady friend who is not in Yosemite but is in Northern California.
Okay.
Fresno Nightcrawler, she says. Hold on, I'm Googling it.
So she's not seen it. So
Yeah,
that's a no from the first one.
I-
Never
I
heard
would-
of it, but hold on.
I would love for this person to pop in and chat with us on Twitch. Oh, look at this. We did get a chatter. Oh, we got spam. Somebody to ban. Hold on. Preliminary cater. Cheap viewers on VWR Boost.online. Sweet. Yeah, you're great.
Sweet.
Let's go ahead and ban this person.
Can we take a pee break?
Yes. He says yes. There we go. We banned somebody. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and
Did you delete their message?
I banned them. It
Okay.
was just a link. I think it deletes their messages when I ban them. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back, everybody. Hold please. Okay, we are back, and we are talking about the Fresno Nightcrawler. So
Boogity boogity.
boogity boogity, indeed. We talked about one of the possible explanations for the Nightcrawler, and that was a hoax. And we have actually been digging into it pretty hardcore since we started.
Brainstorming.
Since we've seen the first video, how you would fake it. And
Pretty
then
good
we-
at making a thing. I don't know if I could make this thing, but I'm pretty good at making a thing. I feel like simpler is better because it
Yeah.
makes it look weirder. All.
Yeah,
But
I could probably do some force perspective stuff if I knew the angle of the camera and I could see it while I was doing it.
mhm.
And I would do, I could see myself making, I could make something. My mom was a seamstress. I could sew before I could walk. I could make an outfit like this. However,
It sure does have a
it's-
puppet feel.
it does, but it's
So it makes
something
me
that-
keep come back to that like a simple puppet.
let's go back to that first video. I want to see that movement again.
I'm even thinking like little balls of sand at the
Or
end
little
of it.
fishing weights.
Yeah,
But look at the length of the legs on this one.
this one's different though. This doesn't even move the same.
No, he's
Yeah,
moving
that-
fast.
It's like and it sort of teeter totters, whereas the other one's like
It's almost like
there's
it's got a bum leg
yeah.
because it starts off kind of a normal gait and then it's
This one even seems heavier, if that makes sense.
and look at the range of the gait,
Yeah,
much wider.
and it's all spread out too. Yeah, and it's not. It's very quick, and it seems like it's got weight to it. Like when it steps down, like it's sort of. It kind of looks like somebody trying stilts for the first time.
Yeah,
You know how they sort of like they lean too far forward and get.
yeah,
It kind of looks a little bit like that. They start moving too quick, but they can't lift their leg up high enough to keep the stilt from dragging before
Yeah.
it touches down again. That's kind of what it looks like.
Oh, so in boss effect and inverse to raise details of the figure, please take note if there was a string holding up the figure. Oh wait,
It would show up. With
it
the
would show up
enhancement.
with the enhancement. Yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah, they're dead right. It would show up.
Fair enough. I don't know if that would detect fishing line though. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You're asking for a lot there, but I don't think that's how this one's moving either though. I don't think that if they're hoaxes, I don't think we're looking at the same mechanism.
So I hate to say it, but the first video, this one here we're looking at, this one feels more like AI. However, this was, what was the year on this one?
2007, I think.
2007. Yeah, AI wasn't even thought of then.
No one was doing it. And certainly no one was doing it for video production. I don't think this looks very it doesn't have the hallmarks of AI that, that I've seen. And I believe it is something moving there. I guess here's an interesting thing to take note of. Right? So he's walking by a street light.
Yeah.
Right? And I know there's two things in this video. One, he's walking by a street light and the shadow matches basically the thing we got here, right? Super skinny.
Yeah.
The other thing is when he walks across the change in whatever that color changes on the ground, you can see it between the legs. Because here's what I was thinking when I first saw it. I was like, oh, it's a crappy camera, and it's really somebody running in like a trench coat, and you're just not catching the light on the legs because the color is really terrible. It's really bad. So, but you can see right through the tall slit up between his legs. You can see the color change in the pavement up through it. So it's not a person, but that's what I thought when you first played it. I was like, I already got this one in the bag. Some dude in a trench coat or a cape, stumbling around drunk at night. But you can see right up through the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's something. It's something they really did catch something weird on video. I just don't. If I'm gonna say it's not a hoax, then I have no idea where to go after that.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, like when it's animal-like stuff, I can be like, oh, well, it's not fake. It's like, like the knot deer, right? It's not fake. It's
right.
It's chronic wasting disease, or it's, or it's something else. But I don't know where to go from here then if it's not fake.
So let me put my tinfoil hat back on. Are you ready for the
there you go. Perfect. Oh, we lost your mic, buddy.
Hello. It's all gone.
Hello?
There you go.
Yep, there it is. That's so weird. Like I bumped it. My lights in the mic turned red again. That was weird.
Uh-oh.
It's the devil.
Let me mute it. Okay, no, it does something different when I mute it. What's the...
Didn't you say it has a tap thing to mute it?
Yeah, that's the button. So I can hit the button.
Oh, I thought it was a
and I
haptic.
have no sound. Oh, wait. No, my mic's still working.
Yeah, I thought you said it was a haptic, like you tapped the mic. Yeah. Yeah,
All
it's out.
gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
haptic. That's why. Yeah, you told me it was haptic. Yeah, it works. Yep. Now it's off.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, you told me it was a haptic tap thing.
It says mute on the top. I'm so dumb. It's the hat.
Well, now you know.
I do know. Well,
I know.
I've been hitting this, thinking I'm muting it. So y'all been hearing my sneezes. Well, anyway, tinfoil hat is on. The number 2 explanation for the Fresno Nightcrawler, not the Nightwalker. That's different.
It's different.
Extraterrestrial life.
Okay.
Some cryptid enthusiasts
Aliens,
and
I knew
UFO.
it.
Yes. Wait, we got a sound for this. Wait. Hold on. I'm dealing with 2 monitors.
Aliens. Ancient astronaut theorists propose.
Aliens, right?
It's funny because it actually says UFO researchers propose that the Nightcrawler could be an extraterrestrial being. Its unusual movement and lack of recognizable anatomy make it an ideal candidate for an alien life form. Supporters of this theory argue that the creature's fluid movement and unnatural proportions suggest it may not adhere to Earth's standard biological structure.
So
Okay.
puppets fly UFOs.
Sure, yeah. Muppets.
No, I get it. I mean, if you're, that's kind of something they talk about a lot on, when they talk about life on other planets. They're like, we don't expect to go down there and find like grass and trees and squirrels.
Right.
Right. I mean, but, even if we found a planet with complex, highly specialized life like ours, right? Not just like microbes under ice, but like actual, big complex organisms. They're like, we can play thought games about it all we want, but all we have to base it on is what's happened here.
Right.
If it didn't happen here, we don't have a concept for it, so there's no way you can thought experiment your way outside of the box that's the whole universe you live in.
Right.
So extraterrestrial life is likely to be super weird.
Yeah, it's gonna look nothing like us.
Yeah,
Nothing.
we don't even know that like the kind of appendages and moving like joints that we have is even the most efficient. It's just what won out here.
Yeah. So, I think in this circumstance, alien life form makes the most sense. Because simply, we cannot predict what alien life form is going to look like. We all have the preconceived ideas of what the Greys look like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
who's to say we're completely wrong or right? You know what I mean? For all we know, this could be right.
Well,
These,
and you know,
these could be Venusians. Venusians?
if
Venusians.
if we go by my favorite theory of, or I guess the theory we came up with of why aliens are here, and I think it's because they're like sightseeing, joyriding. I don't think it's a, you know, I think we're the nature preserve, and they all, you know, if you have enough money, you can go do a flyby of, you know, Earth reality TV, and you know, it wouldn't be out of line that if they were coming, you know, if you had what do we do when we're on vacation? You know, bring your pets. You know, something stows away on board. I mean, you know, I don't know if space travel or dimensional travel were just like, you know, a super boring thing like paper is to us.
Right.
Who knows? I mean, you end up with a thing, you know, a thing that likes to get into spaces in your ships, and you're just like, whatever, it'll be fine. Dust out your ship on the planet that you landed on and leave it there because you don't think anything of it. Kind of like people throwing Coke bottles out of their window on the highway. So, I mean, it may not be the intelligent alien life forms that come and like, you know, flying the ships, but it could be an alien species nonetheless. A pet, a wild animal, a pest.
Sure.
We don't even know what pests would look like.
Right. Yeah.
Could be a pest like having ants at your picnic.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's to say that these aren't ants and they perish within a few hours of the planet? Whatever. Jeez. I hate to be this guy. I hate to be him, but I think I need to. I need to use the bathroom now. I should have when y'all did. I'm sorry.
We're just gonna have to get a catheter for the future episodes, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 2 seconds. If y'all want to ramble, I could leave the camera running, or I could go to the BRB screen.
Go to the BRB screen. It's fine.
Okay. I will be right back. I'm sorry. Yoga every day.
Every day. Every day.
Every day.
We just like to feel like we're beat up at the end of the day. Hey, sleep good. Get a good physical beating.
I feel like I'm beat up every day, but that's because I'm approaching middle age. And
Not what it is. How dare you?
I heard all the time.
How dare you?
I've actually started using a TENS unit for my
40's
back
the
pain.
new 20. What are you talking about?
40's the new 70, if you ask me.
I'm only
daily.
Dude, I'm only what 2 months away from 39. Dude.
Eek.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So, oh, really?
The never aging man.
I turned 39 this year, and I feel it. But I switched. So I was eating ibuprofen like candy, and I switched to a TENS unit for my back pain, and huge difference. Huge difference. I bought a cheap little one from Walmart just to see if it would work. I put it on. I was like, this is junk. This thing is not even connected to Bluetooth. Not doing anything. And it doesn't stay connected to Bluetooth long enough to really control it through the app. So you got to like connect to Bluetooth. Since it recognizes it, you got to run through the options really quick to get it set up. But once you get it started, it stays in that mode until the battery dies. So
I don't know if you knew that I was having pretty bad back pain like beginning of the year. Right about the time I quit. We quit having the shop, but it was bad enough. I went and saw my doctor did an MRI, and I went. The chiro wasn't helping. It was really making it hurt more. So I stopped doing the chiro, and I was cutting back on the yoga because I was afraid I was going to hurt myself. Like I thought I had like a disc thing going on, right? And they're like, no, there's nothing there. You're not going to hurt yourself. It's a muscle tissue thing. And I was like, okay. So I went to physical therapy, and they did dry needling, which is where they basically go in and stick the needle through the muscle and touch the fascia that's on the actual bone. And that was no fun. And they finally gave me a TENS unit, and like from the provider kind of thing. Anyway, it's buttons, on the box. Yeah. But you know what finally helped? A very nice doctor from South America who lives here.
Okay.
He's his training is in sports medicine. Yeah. And he did 3 things. He gave me some sort of supplements to take every day. He came wherever I was, at home or at the office, every day for 10 days. He came wherever I was at, plopped his table out, did the most intense TENS unit stuff I've ever had. Like he brought the TENS unit, like the tabletop TENS unit with like eight electrodes, and it was up so high it stung. It felt like little needle stings. Like it was up that high. I can't turn mine up that high. Like my home one, I can't turn it up this high. And then he used this infrared cannon, basically, and ran it over the area. And dude, like for real, after 10 days, like I went from like every morning I wake up and be like, I don't want to get out of bed, to it was kind of fine. And we're sore every night from yoga, and I was taking a bunch of ibuprofen like an old man. And during COVID though, we took a lot of turmeric cooked in milk to get the oils to come out. Dude, I was taking so much ibuprofen during COVID that I actually couldn't physically take anymore, because it'll make you worse, right? Liver problems and things like that. So I'd take it on the schedule you're supposed to, and then in between I would drink the turmeric, whatever, and it actually made all the joint pain and stuff go away too. So now I just drink the turmeric at night, unless it's real bad.
I've been it's only been 2 days I've been using the TENS unit, and like this morning I woke up, my back hurt a little bit, put the tens unit on. The battery only lasts like an hour. So I turned it up to like, I've been doing it like level 1 out of 10. Today I turned it up to 3 and sat on the couch with the puppy. And by the time the battery died, I stood up. I had no back pain. So the thing I used to do when I'm getting ready for work, I'll be standing in the kitchen. I'll just pull my socks out of the dryer. And while I'm standing, I'll put my socks on. And for the past few months,
Couldn't do it.
like 6 months, couldn't do it. I'd have to sit down to put socks on. But since I've been doing the tens unit in the morning, I got up this morning, you know, like I said, I'd sat down on the couch with the puppy, and my wife got up. I was like, let me put some socks on. Put socks on, middle of the kitchen, no problem. Put my socks straight on.
Crank that thing up. It's not going to hurt you.
I will say, okay, so trigger warning for those who don't like poop stories.
Is that a left turn?
It's a left turn, but it's still in the vein of the conversation. So while I was sitting on the couch with the puppy, I had the tens unit on, drinking coffee. I was like, oh, I need to go poop. I sat down on the toilet because it's a wireless unit,
Right.
and I'm using the tens unit, and like it would start to evacuate, and then the unit would hit, and it would. And I was like, okay, it's going. Here we go. And I was like, you know
That's
what?
so funny.
So there's buttons on it. I'm like reaching back there, trying to shut off the buttons. I'm like, okay, it's off. Now I can go to the bathroom.
It hit you with a pulse. That's so funny.
I could. All I'm gonna say is this: no power, power. No power, power. Today was the first time I turned it up over 1, and it it does its job. It tenses the muscles for sure. But I'm pleased. This is the first time since we've started the podcast that I could sit in this chair comfortably. Usually, like you see how much less I'm fidgeting, or constantly rearranging or swapping feet. You know, trying to get myself to sit up taller. It's helping a lot. For a $35 unit from Walmart, I think I'm doing all right. But we'll see. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. Anywho's, so we were on
aliens.
The aliens. Aliens. Wait.
Aliens.
We got audio. Hold on. Wait.
Aliens.
So the prevailing theory of number 2 is extraterrestrial life, that these are not cryptids, in fact, but they are secretly
Aliens.
I think these are like their pet dogs or their cat that got out.
Yeah, you brought it up.
No,
Pet that you brought it up, and so like we think of like the Christopher Columbus coming to the United States, or coming to the new Americas. A lot of the pests they had on board were not native to this area. Rats were not native to the North America until Christopher Columbus came. But once they landed, sure. But it also begs the question, why don't we see more of them?
Probably can't survive long.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like if this were an extraterrestrial pest, it doesn't last but a handful of hours on the planet, because their structure is so weird.
I would venture, like, if we're going to say it, this is biologic, right? If we're going to say it's foreign biological creature, I would wager that given how light it is, right, how light its frame seems to be, if I were going to assume this is an animal or a creature of some sort, I would guess that in a either high density atmosphere, where the atmosphere is, thick enough that it, it's not solid, but it becomes something with resistance, right? Or a very low gravity environment, either one, you would have this sort of structure, and if that were the case, it wouldn't be for walking. Those would actually be sort of
pushing
like
off
swimmy wings. Yeah, kind of more like jellyfish. And
like walking on the bottom of a pool where you don't even really have to walk, you just jump off.
right, or it doesn't even do that. It just flaps its its leg things like a jellyfish, right? I mean, they do it with the top, but you see what I'm saying? It makes the same sort of motion. And I wonder if this is the reason it looks so weird when it's trying to walk. This is how it gets itself up off the ground. Is it uses its not made for walking limbs,
Sure.
appendages as legs, and then they eventually die.
Or let me tinfoil hat this thing. What if it's coming from a planet with super high gravity? And let's say its circulatory system is used to the extra high gravity, and it gets to a planet like ours where the gravity is lower and the circulatory system doesn't work the same, and it kills it within a few hours.
Yep, like bringing up deep sea creatures and not having
Right.
them in a pressurized container. Yeah, they
Right.
just die.
Yeah,
They just
it's
die
like
from the lack of pressure.
just this week, actually, there was a new sighting of a very rare anglerfish.
Mhm.
The one with the little bobble with the light and the
Yeah.
huge jaws with super sharp teeth.
Translucent teeth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a video that came just this week of one of those fish just coming straight up. And it came up and they got like 10 or 12 minutes of footage of it and then it died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you have a body made for that sort of deep sea pressure, you have to have some sort of counteracting pressure. So that the
Right.
body's used to making pressure on the inside to keep itself, rigid. Once you take that away, the body basically rips itself apart, either from
Sure.
hydraulic pressure from the liquid pressure inside of it, or because everything is flexing against it and it doesn't know how to do anything. The body doesn't know how to do anything else, so then it breaks itself.
Yeah, think of how many people die from high blood pressure.
Right. I mean, it's kind
Same
of
thing. Yeah,
I bet they get a version of the bends
right.
for
Right.
water, for water creatures, because they still pull oxygen out of the water. I would imagine that coming up that fast gives them the bends, and they just boil on the inside.
Yeah.
The gases boil out and hemorrhage them from the inside. Now, how sperm whales do it, I don't know, because they go down far enough
Deep,
to get
deep.
at giant squid, super deep,
Yeah.
and then 45 minutes later, they pop back up like a cork. So, I don't know.
It's weird. So, the number 3 is a spiritual or supernatural entity. Another theory proposed that the Nightcrawler could be a supernatural being rather than a physical creature. Some legends from Native American folklore, particularly those of the Yokutis tribe, Yokuts tribe, Yokuts, Yokuts tribe, reference a mysterious stick-like being with long legs that appear in the woods. While there is no definitive proof linking these tales to the Nightcrawler, some believe that the connection suggests spiritual or ghostly origin. And that's kind of in the vein of the tree spirits I was talking about earlier. I feel like these are more tree spirits than anything. I feel like my number 1 right now is tree spirits, and my close number 2 is extraterrestrial. Because it's weird. It's just weird.
It is weird. It is very weird.
So, our last explanation is an undiscovered species. While less popular, the idea that the Nightcrawler represents an unknown species cannot be entirely ruled out. Some argue that if real, the creature could be an evolutionary offshoot adapted to a highly specific environment. However, the lack of additional evidence or biological specimens make this hypothesis difficult to support.
Sure.
And-
yeah, because taxonomy wants specimens.
Right. And
You want things.
that comes back to the you bring a creature that's used to living in the Marianas Trench up to here without a pressurized tank, they just collapse.
Mm-hmm.
They'll live for, I think so back to that anglerfish, the last living specimen made it a couple days in a non-pressurized tank.
Right.
I mean, sure, it could last a little bit, but once it dies, it just flattens out like a pancake and there's nothing much left because the pressure is so different.
Yeah.
And we don't know what I'm getting back to the extraterrestrial thing. We don't know what other planets are going to be like. And for all we know, this could be a pest on a UFO that's just walking around out here. And then, nuts. I'm in the wrong atmosphere. Try to get to where I need to be. You might catch it. It might last for 5 or 6 hours and then it just collapses down into a puddle. Hard to say. So, wrapping up the cultural impact and popularity, the Fresno Nightcrawler has transcended its original sightings to become an internet sensation, inspiring artwork, merchandise, and memes. The creature's unusual, almost whimsical appearance has led to its portrayal as a friendly, often even cute cryptid, a stark contrast to more menacing figures like the Mothman or the Jersey Devil. The Nightcrawler's influence can be seen in multiple media forms, including YouTube analysis, animated adaptations, and even video games. Many cryptid enthusiasts regard the Nightcrawler as a prime example of modern folklore, where digital media spreads and amplifies stories of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond the online communities, the Nightcrawler has also made its way into urban legend culture. Particularly in California, some people claim to have seen the creature or encountered similar beings, though none have provided conclusive evidence. Paranormal investigators can continue to examine the footage, but the debate is over its authenticity remains unresolved. So in conclusion, the Fresno Nightcrawler is one of the most unique and mysterious cryptids of the modern era. Its strange appearance, limited sightings, and cultural impact make it a fascinating case study in cryptozoology. While some believe it to be a hoax, others argue that it represents something truly unexplained, whether alien, spiritual, or an unknown species. Regardless of its true nature, the Fresno Nightcrawler has cemented itself in an enduring piece of contemporary folklore, demonstrating how digital media and human curiosity can continue to shape the world of cryptids. Great conclusion that I've never really thought about modern folklore.
So that was the point that Paul was making about UFO sightings. How, evidence aside, right? Obviously, a lot of people see them that their story's not credible, or it seems like something else is going on, but people latch on to it, right? And
right.
He made a point the other week about what was the author's name? Who wrote that book?
Pasolka.
Pasolka.
Dr.
Yeah,
Pasolka.
about how UFOs and the looking for them and the keeping track of them has almost become its own religion, which most religions start out as lore,
right?
Lore and legend first, and then become religion as it gets organized. So yeah, so I it's an interesting point. I think that's even the idea of ghosts, right? Because we mostly I think that the idea that there's ghosts originally stemmed out of the idea that we don't want to believe that our loved ones are gone. We want to believe that there's something that lasts after we die, and that there's some place we're supposed to go. Some don't go, and then you have ghost hauntings, right? Because it helps us believe that even though that person's gone, a piece of them, was going to go somewhere. It makes us feel better. Makes me feel better. So
Me too.
I mean, it does. It makes me feel better, and I think it makes most people feel better, even if they're like, I don't believe in ghosts. I mean, I think that they believe that there's some piece of their loved one around. They'd be like, oh, I feel like I can feel them. So you believe in ghosts? No, it's not a ghost. Whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, I think that sort of thing becomes a religion in a way. You know,
Sure.
Plus there's a lot of disconnect with religion these days for all kinds of reasons. And I think religion is a very human thing, right? The belief in something that you can't necessarily prove, but you feel is true. It's a very human thing. And so it's not crazy to think that we reach out in other ways and start, you know, new sort of lore and legend as the beginning of it, you know, in wherever we can find it.
So you bring up the longevity question. So I don't mean to tug at the heartstrings too hard, but we've both lost puppies in the last year or so. Have you seen the pup you lost? Or think you've seen him?
In
So
life or in a dream?
In life. Oh no, in dream. Either one. Ethan, throw it out there. Sure. Either one.
Get ready.
Look, okay, hold on. Before we get too far into it. This is really personal, but I'm gonna tell you what I did. So when we lost my puppy and my cat, all within a year, we buried them out in the garden.
mm-hmm,
So they're here.
mm-hmm.
Turns
What did
out,
you do?
So we cremated Jack. He died in his bed. He had a heart attack, and I had to carry him inside because I took him outside because I thought he had to pee, or I thought he was going to throw up or didn't feel good. And then he went outside, and rather than, you know, run out in the woods like he always did, he went out there, looked around, and just sat down. And then I was like, okay, well, we need to get him inside. And I couldn't get him to get inside, so I carried him inside and got him onto his bed, and he died in his bed. So we took the bed, his blanket, and him, you know, together, and had him cremated. So,
Do you have
I can't.
those?
I can't. I don't own that. We don't own our house, so I can't really just bury him.
Right. So,
Plus,
but
he's
do
a
you
big
have?
dog. He's 100 pounds.
Of course, you have what was cremated.
The
right?
ashes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in our bedroom, next to his
Okay.
toy, next to his favorite toy.
So he's in your house. Yeah. So potato and chicken are both in the yard, like 6 feet this way down. So, what have you seen?
So
If you don't mind me asking.
No,
Just do one-
I don't mind. I'm you know, I've gotten to where I can tell it. But so I missed him terribly. I could for months, if I thought about him, I could he had that big fluffy ruff around his neck. For months, if I started to talk about him or see someone else's German Shepherd, I could feel his fur between my fingers. I could feel the feeling of it. And it was driving me crazy. Because it was like it was like a fresh cut every time. And
Yeah.
I'd cry. People would say, "Oh, I heard you lost your dog. I'm so sorry." And I'd start to try to say his name, and I'd just choke. I couldn't get any words out, so I'd have to excuse myself from the conversation, go to the bathroom, just bawl my eyes out in the bathroom. Which all of this is super unusual for me.
Yeah.
I've never been a crier my entire life.
Same.
Until I lost Jack. And so I was having two things happened. One, before he died, I was stuck on I couldn't paint anything. I was on the same painting that's not a big painting for months and getting nowhere because I didn't know what I was painting. I had no idea what I was painting. You know, I knew what it was going to look like this. Whoops, get my finger going the right way. This one behind me. I knew what it was going to look like. I had finished this, but I didn't know what it was about. And so I didn't know what was supposed to be in the painting, what wasn't. I'm just painting cool looking things, but there's no theme. So there was that. So I was stuck in that, and then I lost him, and then I didn't want to paint. And I've been having more nightmares than usual. They kind of like ramped up from their normal sort of pace. And first thing that happened was I would have these nightmares, and he would show up. And not so much like he was there and I was there. I'm here having this dream, and there'd just be this superimposition of him curled up, like on his bed, but it would be him curled up like he was curling up in front of my vision, so I couldn't see the nightmare. I couldn't see the thing that was going on, or he would like roll over on his back for me to scratch his belly, like in the middle of the vision. So he's like in his own thing, but he's there superimposed in front of whatever this horrific thing is going on. So that's where it started. And then I was having trouble sleeping because I was thinking about him, and I was sleeping in our guest bedroom because Paul had been snoring, and I was already sleeping lightly. And so I went in there, and I just, I was laying there thinking about him, and I cried. I just laid there in the bed and just cried because I couldn't sleep on the one hand, and I was frustrated, and on the other hand, then I thought about him, so it was double. So when I did fall asleep, though, I had this dream where I was floating in space, just in space. You can see a sun over here, closer star, sun, and some planets, and I can see this little shiny sort of winky ball, like winky bit of light, kind of zooming around, but it's always coming closer to me, and it flies by me, and I don't have it here, but it looked like the sphere things that I'm always making in my artwork, right? The rings with a ball of light in the middle. So it was a little one of those, almost like the size of a dog toy, and it zooms like right by my face, like close enough I feel like if I had moved it over, it would have hit me in the face. And right behind it comes like a almost anime cartoon version of Jack, with his tongue hanging out his mouth because he's flying so fast, trying to chase this ball, or it looks like a super high-tech thing. I don't know, some sort of mechanism. Yeah. And he flies by me, chasing after it. And then, I can see him, flying through space, and there's like blue light coming out from behind him and from behind the toy, and he's just like the biggest happy sloppy dog, tongue out the face, out the window thing ever. And I woke up, and I immediately knew what I was going to paint for the rest of my life. It was the whole Jack the Space Dog story. Everything I paint now, all the paintings since, and the 30 I already have done in my head. And it was the first time that I was crying about Jack, but it was because I was so happy. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it was dealable after that, and it really felt like, I could smell him in the dream, because he was an old dog, so he smelled a little funky, but it was the same funk all the time. And I could smell him, I could feel his hair as he flew past me, and I mean, I can't explain it, but if you ask me, he was there. He was there. Yeah. I mean, no one has to believe me, but he was there. He came and he solved two problems. His last two gifts for me. He reminded me how glad I was to have had him versus to have never had him at all. Right? And then he both solved my artistic block and changed my entire career and perspective as an artist. The most popular paintings I've ever done, they've sold for, amounts that if you had asked me before, will you ever sell a painting for that, I would have said that's ridiculous. I'll never. Other people sell paintings for that. I'll never sell a painting for that much. There's no way. And it's all because of that dream that I had about Jack. So yeah, and it's given me a way to tell the story about Jack and about me, in a way that's removed, right? So it hurts less, and it's not quite so personal as to actually give everybody super specific details about my life, right?
Yeah.
It lets me work through stuff that's hard, and I can just throw it in my art. And I came to all that stuff. I realized that interaction gave me all those things, and I
Right.
woke up and knew all that. Like, it wasn't like I sort of came to it over days, because I came in and woke up Paul at like 4 a.m. I was like, "Sweetheart, are you awake? Yeah, you're awake. You're awake, right? I need to tell you something." So
He's like, "Here, sit up, get up." And I said, can I listen to it laying down?
Let me grab a beverage. Oh, it's still fresh for me, so it's probably not as easy. But so my wife and I, we lost chicken last December. Well, no, December before last. So it's been a year since we lost chicken. And we lost Potato about 9 months after. Potato was mine, chicken was hers. Chicken and I were connected at the hip, right? He was always in here. Every time I was in here, he wanted to be in here. With him and Potato were always in here, especially when we were doing podcasts. I wouldn't always say he was here, but his bed was always underneath my desk. And Potato was always, when I adopted Potato, she was, oh geez. When I went in there, they said, "What kind of cat are you looking for?" I said, "Well, which one's been here the longest?" They said, "Well, that one up there in the corner, but she doesn't like anybody." And I walked in there, 20-something cats, and she was the only one that she reached out and grabbed me, tried to grab me. She didn't have claws, but she reached out and tried to grab me, and I was like, "Okay, what's up?" So I pet the cat a little bit, and she immediately attached herself to me. She liked the hell out of me. So I was like, "That's the one I need." They're like, "You sure?" Because she's not really friendly. I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I took her home, and she immediately took to me, and she followed me everywhere up until the day I lost her. But when she passed, I will say I had a stronger connection with Potato than I did Chicken. Losing Chicken was hard, but losing Potato was worse for me because I've known Potato longer than I knew my wife. And every single night we were in here recording the podcast, she was right here at my feet. And a few times I even picked her up and showed y'all. And oh geez, when she went in the middle of the night, and when she did go, she went underneath the desk. She was right here, where she was the most comfortable. And I will be sitting here recording with y'all, and I swear to God, I feel her at my feet sometimes. You'll see when I'm recording, when we're streaming, I will look down all the time because I swear I feel her down there by my feet. But today, especially today, I don't know what it is about today. So we have a new puppy now, and we have a new cat. And we were all upstairs today in the bed. And you know that sound your dog makes when he jumps off a piece of furniture in another room? We were up. Yeah. And the nail clicks.
Yeah.
So we were in bed today, and the TV wasn't on. It was just my wife and I, dog and the cat. We're all sitting in the bed. And we heard what sounded like one of the animals jumping off the couch downstairs. So my first thought was it was the new cat, because she roams around the house. She's free to do whichever she wants. We've got to watch the puppy because he's been snipped. So he's within, eyesight of us all the time. So the puppy was there in my lap. I heard the sound, and my first thought was, oh, it was the cat jumping off of something downstairs. I didn't think anything of it. And 2 seconds later, I look up. The cat's sitting on my wife's feet.
The whole time.
The whole time. She's asleep. I don't know what it was. My first reaction was look at the cameras to see what's going on outside. So I didn't think anything of it at first. So then, right before we started recording tonight, I took the puppy outside, and he's running around the yard doing what he does. He's very young. He's running. He's got the super zoomies, and I passed by the porch door. So where my porch is, there's maybe 4 foot between the door and my car. So if you look in the reflection of the door, all you see is my car. But today, when I was outside, so what I'll do, it's long-winded, bear with me. What I'll do is when I'm outside with a puppy, I'll follow him around. And it's just a way of me letting him know that he's not alone. He's here outside with somebody. It's safe to use the bathroom. You're safe. No one's going to, he's a puppy. So puppies are going to be weary of pooping because they don't know that they're safe 100%. So there's the side yard, which is in front of me, and then part of the backyard, which is over here. So in order to go from the side yard to the backyard, you got to pass in front of the side door. And I follow him around. And geez, when I'm out there, it's 20, 30 minutes. We're out there until he poops. And we go to the side yard in front of me, and then we come around the house and pass in front of the side door to go to the side yard, which is behind me. And when we passed by, I looked out of the corner of my eye. I could see the reflection of the door, which should have shown me the car. But I swear to God, I saw a chicken. I swear I saw him. Like he was standing there looking at me in the reflection. And it was enough to stop me. And I stopped and I turned and I looked behind me and I looked at the car. And then I looked at the window. I didn't see anything. I swear I saw him. I swear I saw him. And I don't know. I just don't know how it could have happened, an accident, because the way I was walking, the puppy was in front of me. But it's like he was there right in front of the door looking at me in the reflection of the door, because there's glass in the door. He was there. I know he was there. Because chicken had these eyes, big ol' eyes. He was a little papillon. And aside from his ears, oh my God, his ears were huge. But the next biggest thing on him was his eyes. And I swear I saw him in the door. And I've never once seen him. And I was so mad for years, or not for years, but for months. But because my wife would have dreams, she would see him all the time. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't see him. and I was frustrated for a long, long time that I could never see him. But I swear I saw him today. There's just nothing else in my yard that it could have been. I mean, y'all have bet chicken. You knew how he was.
Mhm.
When he looked at you, all you saw were his big ears, and he always had super watery eyes, so his eyes were extra shiny all the time. And I swear to God, I fucking saw him today, and I haven't told my wife this yet because I'm not sure she would take it half as well as I did, but I swear I saw him, and I don't know, man. It's wild. It really is. I don't really have anybody else I could talk to about this stuff. I'm sorry.
No. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I can see you struggling with reconciling, that you saw him, but that he can't physically be there, right?
Yeah.
That was so. I've never put much stock in my dreams because I've mostly always had nightmares. right. But if you talk my dreams, I'd never be able to live. And I don't, I certainly have never thought of myself as, like a medium or anything like that. But having that dream, right, or in your case, seeing chicken in the reflection like that clearly, it makes a lot of my skepticism hard to swallow. A lot of my own skepticism about that stuff hard to swallow, because on the one hand, I'm usually a skeptic about that sort of thing, but then if you tried to argue with me about whether or not that was Jack, I'd get mad. So, I don't have any good answers about that, because I would tell you the same thing. Like, he was there. I could feel him. I could smell him. I don't smell things in my dreams. I could smell them. And I'm sure a psychiatrist would say, it's grief processing, or, or whatever you might be able to try to come up with to explain it away. But it's made me have to question, that idea of a lasting, a lasting piece of someone or something that's still there after they're gone. I mean, I think, I've also never had a close family member die, right? Or a close loved one, or a partner, or any of that. I've never had any of that happen. So Jack was the first, person in my life that I had to lose. And so, maybe I shouldn't be such a dick about being so skeptic about other people's stories, because I, at least in the instance, in my own personal instance, I'm not skeptical at all. I know what I experienced, and I know what it changed, more than just having an idea, right? It was a landscape of thought instantly. A landscape of thought, not just a thing that cascaded into other stuff. It was like he took a map out and was like, oh, here you go. You looked like you were lost. This has everything.
Yeah.
This has everything. Also, I love you, and it's okay. All in a single gesture. And I just don't. I'm pretty clever, dude. I think I'm pretty clever, and I'm pretty creative. I could not have planned something like that out, either for a story for somebody else to make them feel better, or certainly not to weave that many threads together in a single, it was like a couple seconds. The whole happening was like a couple of seconds in the dream. I wouldn't have even known my own triggers enough to know that those things would make me feel those things. I think there's something there, man. And I was, and now too, now I cry at movies now, man. I never cried at movies my whole life. I've never cried in a movie, even as a kid. And we watched something. Oh, it was Avatar: The Way of Water. We were watching it in the theaters, and the ending was just so like, yes, like I just had tears like streaming down my face. I was like, what is this? Because it wasn't that long. It wasn't that long after. And I mean, it was like 6 months or a year maybe by the time we saw it. But that's not the only one. There's been other occurrences. I never happy cried before in my life, and now I cried over that dog more in 4 or 6 months than I have in my entire life, by like orders of magnitude. I think there's something there. I think there's something there. I wouldn't let anybody tell you any different.
Yeah, it's there's
or it's just the deepest form of insanity that I can't explain. It's it's that, but I don't believe that myself.
Yeah, I believe that both of my pets and your pet, they're still here. And I don't know why, but today has been such a visceral feeling. Hearing him jump off the couch. I say jump off the couch because lately I've been having so Basil's my dog now. Those who don't know, Basil just got snipped. So we're trying to keep him from jumping off of stuff. So when my back
stitch is loose,
right? Yeah. So when he jumps off of stuff, we hear the sound, and we're like, "Oh, geez." So I'm hyper vigilant to the sound, and like it was so clear today that my wife heard it, and she actually said, "What was that?" I knew what it sounded like to me, and I was like, I'm sure it's somebody outside doing something because we're in a noisy neighborhood, but I knew what it sounded like, and it's just, it's tough sometimes. It really is. But it was like maybe a half hour after that we heard the sound is when I saw Chicken today, that I knew he was still here. And I don't know, it's a lot to deal with sometimes, but total tangent. But
my sister sent me something to think about. Part of why it feels so hard, right? And sometimes I'd look at myself just like snot running into my mustache, crying on Paul in the kitchen, just trying to cook dinner, right? Nothing happened. His toys weren't out. There wasn't a dog dish. I just, I'd be cooking and then he'd cross my mind and that'd be it. Just total mess. And, I just could not get I felt, on the one hand, I felt silly, and then I felt ashamed for feeling silly about it. And, and the thing that no one tells you, especially people who haven't had a dog or an animal that they were close to, right, is the animal is, or a pet, a friend, is they're going to be the least complicated and closest relationship you can have, right? Because there's no ego in it. They don't get mad at you. They don't care if you squeeze the toothpaste from the middle like a serial killer. They don't care. And it's the least complicated, least burdened, closest relationship you can have with anything. And so it's more like losing a child, right? Because they never grow up. They don't live long enough to grow up. they live too short. Their their needs are very simple. They and they don't ask for much because they don't know to ask for much.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we have no grieving process for losing a pet. There's no grieving process. We have all kinds of stuff built up around losing people. All kinds of stuff, preparations and ceremony and words. We have nothing for pets. And at least half the population, maybe more, have pets as furniture, not as friend. Right? They just have them because they think you ought to get a dog because it's cool to have a dog around. Or it's cool, or you have a cat around as another warm body in the house. And so, I actually had somebody say to me about Jack, well, at least you only lost your dog. And so I went from sad to murderous, right? In like a half a second. I'm like, well, I'd trade your life for his, so especially in this very moment, because they don't understand, and the vast majority of people aren't going to understand. So all those things together, those four things stacked together, make it even harder than it already is just losing them. Right. So, man, there's no magic answer, though. Having another puppy helps, right? It gives you a place to put all that love that you always had. You got to put it somewhere, right? Holding it in somehow makes you feel like you're suffocating, or not having somewhere to put it, not having something to give it to you somehow makes you feel like you're drowning and you can't breathe. And the final thing that helped me be okay with Jack being gone was getting Gus. It's not like he's Jack, because he's wildly different than Jack ever was. Completely different. Not other than common German Shepherd qualities, nothing temperamentally about him is the same. And so it wasn't, you're not replacing them, but you need somewhere to put that love you're used to being able to give and receive from something so uncomplicated. The best way to heal is another furry friend. They don't replace them, but when you're used to having that connection, not having it is just as hard as as losing them. The trailing part that's so hard is not having anywhere to share that feeling with. So
let me look at my shelf real quick. So there's a story here. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this without losing my head.
Unplugging yourself.
Yeah. Oh, it's here somewhere. Here it is. All right. Okay, so my little brother, we're very close. Right before I left,
your big little brother,
my big little brother, right before we left Arkansas, he gave me this cat, a statue.
Oh,
it's like a little plastic cat, but it's got like little jewels for eyes. He gave me this before I left Arkansas. It's at work in my toolbox. This is a picture of it in my toolbox. 2 days after I lost Potato. So Potato's original name when I adopted her was Emerald, because her eyes were emerald green. I found this at a junk shop. So here's the original, the one my little brother gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the one I found at a junk shop.
Oh, holy shit. That is crazy.
Like, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, even the lines in the fur, that's wild, dude.
I will never get over this. And this will stay in my toolbox. This will stay in here with me. this is my special one. It just blows my mind. You know, he gave me this 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
At least 5 years ago.
Halfway across the country.
2 days after I lost my cat with green eyes. What are the odds? Like,
Slim to none.
like, I couldn't even tell you who makes this. Like, there's no manufacturer marks on this. I don't know. It's wild. Absolutely wild. And call me a sucker for serendipity, but you know, if that's not the purest form of it, then what isn't? You know? Or what is? Excuse me. I had a few drinks. Yeah. It's just wild. Yeah, we went on a real deep tangent there. Sorry. It's been a day for me.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But yeah, you know, I don't even know, like, how does that happen? I couldn't even. I say that this is weird, but something like this has happened once before. So my mom had. So y'all have been to my mom's house for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Do you remember the shelf with the weird dolls?
Vaguely.
In the dining room. So if you're looking at the table off to the left in the back, there was a wall with a shelf that had a bunch of dolls on it.
Okay.
So she had a back. So let me scale this back a number of years. Back before when we were living together, she had found a couple of handmade Mexican dolls from Mexico, like stitched together, hand stitched with leather, hand painted with little faces. It was a guy, and she got the box that held the guy doll, but there was like indentations for other dolls. And these were big, like 20 something inches tall, right? And the summer before I left Arkansas, I found a woman doll holding a baby at a junk shop for like $20. I was like, oh, this is cool. My mom will like it. So I got it and I gave it to her for Mother's Day. And when I gave it to her, she's like, well, this looks just like the set of dolls that I have, or the one doll that I have now. So she pulled the one doll off the shelf, and she had this doll since the mid 90s. I think she said like 93 or 94 she got the doll in Arkansas. Well, I got the guy doll with a baby doll. So she put the two together, and it's like the guy doll fit perfectly in the case so she had a female doll in a case, and the female, wait, did I do that backward?
I think so. You said she had the guy doll.
She had the guy doll. So I got her the female doll with the baby, and the female doll with the baby fit into the case that she had from the 90s, and she put them together, and it was the hand numbered set from 1990s.
Really?
Yes. That, like, we Googled it, we could not find who made it, but the signature on the male doll matched the signature on the female doll with the baby, and all three of them fit together in a case that closed it was like a wooden box. It's so hard. I wish I had the pictures. I have the pictures, but it would take me days to scroll back in Facebook Messenger, but just, I mean, she took the female doll with the baby and set it in the case that she had with the male doll, and it was like it belonged there.
Yeah.
And I to this day I don't know how it worked, but just it blows my mind the serendipity of it all.
Does that make you a junk shop prophet, dude?
Maybe, I don't know.
Finding truths amongst the reselling.
Is this not proof?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's half a joke, but not entirely. I mean, you know.
I'm really good at picking the diamond in the rough, but yeah, it's just serendipity of it all. Yeah, so I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but no, it's just this comes back to what you were saying about longevity and what I was saying about the spirits of the forest being the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I see what you're saying.
Not the Nightwalker. Yeah.
The permanence, not the Nightwalker. The the permanence of the trees, because generally trees live a lot longer than people.
Absolutely.
The permanence of the tree and its having lived, even if it's not in a way that, we think of as going through life, right? Because of how they're composed, but that they might leave some residue like we do.
Right.
Like a spirit or an energy or a residue. I get what you're getting at.
So it says the redwood trees in California can be thousands of years old. The average age of a mature coast redwood is between 800 and 1500 years old, but some can live to be over 2,000 years old. So we're talking back when Jesus was walking around.
Yep.
Certainly a number of them are more than 3,000 years old, and a few are possibly more than 4,000 years old. Published statements are giving ages from 8,000 to 10,000 are greatly exaggerated. So even still, so we've got a living being.
20 people lives. 2,000
Yeah.
years old is 20 people lives.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A long time.
So
That's 20 grandfathers ago.
20 grandfathers ago.
So I don't see how something can live to be that old and be cut down and there not to be some kind of catastrophic rift to make their spirit disconnect and manifest physically.
I get what you're getting at.
And that's what I'm saying about the Fresno Nightwalker.
Gotcha.
Nightcrawler, excuse me.
Nightcrawler.
Sorry. I got to talking about the fur babies and I started drinking more. But yeah, it's that's the only thing I feel like is the sure thing between what we're seeing and what could physically be manifested is the spirit of the trees, the redwoods. Who's to say I'm wrong? Maybe that's why their proportions are so out of whack.
Mm-hmm. So, Paul, what's your take on the Fresno Night Stalker?
Night Stalker. Night Walkers.
Night Walkers.
Yeah, the Night Stalker was caught quite a long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Night Walkers, well, they're everywhere.
Sorry, I rambled there for a little while. I'm sorry.
I don't know what
Took
to
us
say
way
about.
off the subject.
Yeah, it's all right.
It was related.
What to say about the Nightcrawler? It's bizarre. It really looks like a puppet to me. in those photographs or those videos. But I just don't know. I
So
don't know.
you're not convinced that it is a puppet. I hear you saying it. You think it looks like a
I
puppet,
think it
but
looks
you
like a
don't know what
puppet,
it
but
is.
I don't know what it is. I'd like it to be something mysterious and, interesting or otherworldly or supernatural or something. But the fact is, things I would have said for darn certain, there's something mysterious about it. If we do even a cursory investigation into the facts on this show, seldom are these things quite as mysterious. I just don't know what to say about the Nightcrawler. I don't think we've got enough information about it.
Beyond the Shadows, taking all the mystery and magic out of the world.
That's right.
One week at a time.
We're ruining every good story for you.
Sucking all
Every
the fun
good
out of the
story.
room.
So what say you, Aeon?
I mean, I'm gonna agree. It looks and moves like some kind of weird puppet, but even with my explanation and thinking I could do something, I think I could do something that looks similar. I'm having a hard time associating why someone would do it near a town camera and then a game camera.
Yeah.
And to what end? Right? If you're trying to make like a, spirits are walking, through California thing, their approach is so subtle as to be completely missed. And that's not normally how hoaxers do it. Hoaxers aren't that kind of subtle. They're never that kind of subtle. And like I said, it's so subtle as to have been, possibly completely overlooked, So that's what makes it hard for me to be like, oh, it's just a hoax and someone did a good job with it. I don't have a good explanation, but I kind of like my creative explanation of it being some sort of byproduct of extraterrestrial visitation in some way. I like it. Though, now that you got me thinking about Jack again, I really like the idea of massively ancient trees having temporary walking, wandering souls. That is somehow more poetic to me now.
Right?
Now, because you played on my better natures than extraterrestrials. I like the idea of deep mystery in the world because there's not a lot of deep mystery to grab onto. And but for my one experience, I've never had any experiences of deep and wondrous mystery. So I kind of like I like that better, and I find it more satisfying than extraterrestrial cast-offs. So
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go with the tree spirit, man. I kind of like the spirit, or some sort of a spiritual explanation until someone proves me wrong. We'll go with that until someone can prove me otherwise.
All right. Well, I'm definitely sticking with tree spirits. I just, like you said, it's tugging at the heartstrings a little bit. That I feel like, sure, these could be spirits of the trees because they're so disproportionate, and it seems like they're not used to walking like a tree is not used to walking. And I want to feel like, I want to believe that it's the trees, for the lack of a better example, the redwoods, that deforestation has become an issue, and this is what we're seeing as the manifestation. Because we think back to Princess Mononoke, where the the spirit of the trees were making themselves apparent because deforestation. And it's just, I feel like it could be, we've been cutting down redwoods for how many years now?
There used to be a whole forest of them. Now there are glades, essentially.
Yeah.
And they're protected
So-
now, but I mean, you still can buy redwood products, so they do still
Right.
cut them down.
Right. And, I don't feel like
And
they're
they fall.
extra,
They do die
Right.
eventually. There are
Yeah.
some, though.
but I don't feel like they're extraterrestrial. I don't want to say cryptid, but
Doesn't seem like a cryptid. If it's biologic, it can't be from here.
right. And
So you'd have to bend back into, if you're going to say biologic, you'd have to bend back into, something non-terrestrial.
right. So personally, I'm going to say tree spirit. It's the only thing that makes sense. And it's just a little too weird to be anything other than terrestrial. So I guess we're going to call this real. Yeah, that's a go. We got it. This is real. I guess we're going to say, for the sake of this podcast, that the Fresno Nightcrawler, not the one Nightwalker,
Nightcrawler.
is real. Yeah, the Nightcrawlers are real. We know that. But the Nightwalker is real for the sake of this podcast because they are tree spirits. It's the only thing they could be, right? So, what are you guys thinking for next week?
Well, we did Cryptid this week, or a
Cryptid?
in the family of, I don't think, how long ago was it since we last did a ghost one?
Ooh, it's been a little while. I mean,
Maybe ghost.
yeah, let's do ghost next week.
Ghost.
Yeah.
I mean, this one turned into that, but that's not what we started with.
Right. Yeah. It
Or-
it was up to you.
Or we could see if there's a particularly long SCP.
Ooh.
What's that?
You don't know about SCPs?
Probably
Oh.
abbreviation.
Let's do an SCP.
Okay. We'll find one that's got the best.
The
best
abbreviation
evidence.
doesn't really explain what it is. It's surveil, contain, protect is what SCP stands for.
So it's like a branch of the government that protects us from super powerful paranormal things that we have that's physical. Am I saying that
Yeah.
right?
Physical manifestations of. Sometimes it's it's evil spirits. There's one called the demon orb, which I like, but that one was solved. There's some of them are not metaphysical, but they're just dangerous objects that they contain to keep the public safe. The ion cannon being one of them, or the particle cannon. Big Betty. Things
Yeah.
like that. Just Google SCPs. It's a whole rabbit hole. It's a
Get
whole rabbit hole.
ready.
We
Get
did-
ready.
Yeah, we did the what was the one that we did? The rooms.
Oh, back rooms. Yeah.
back rooms. Yeah, we did back rooms as one of our. I think it was our first, wasn't it? Was it our
SCP.
first
Yeah.
one? Or no, our first one was well, I meant first episode. Our first episode was the Phoenix Lights.
Yeah.
We did it soon after when I was still just had the white sheet for a background, and we were wearing the same old T-shirts every week. So
Yeah. So let's do an SCP next week. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That sounds good. Do you want to take us out with closing thoughts while I find somebody to raid?
Sure. So, if we learned anything tonight, it's that we are creatures searching for connection and finding it most of the time. And that connection might be more than just emotional electroneurochemicals, which is what popular science would have you believe. And they have a reason for saying that. But I think a lot of the things that you can point to that make people unhappy are about a lack of connection. Civilization is built around isolating you from the connections around you. That's how advertising works. That's how if it bleeds, it leads. Media works. It's all about getting you to pay attention to it and not pay attention to what's right around you, right? That's why people love to relive stuff through, a news story rather than just look outside and see it happening. That's why people follow other people's vacations on social media. All that is to say, connection is what drives us and what makes us happy. And while I can't promise you will find it here, you are in good company to search for it. So if you feel like you have been lacking some connection, you might find it
beyond the shadows.
I almost got you.
Almost.
I almost got you.
I'm multitasking.
Yeah.
Multitasking. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna raid Trash Taste Podcast tonight.
Trash Taste Podcast. What?
Yeah. It's a new one I've been following. We're just gonna see where this goes.
They got a nice setup. They got a nice three camera angle setup going on.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit before you guys showed up tonight, so we'll see if they even acknowledge us. I'm sure they won't, but we'll try.
I don't think anyone's even looking.
We'll see. I got a thumbs up earlier tonight when I followed them, so good night, everybody.
Good night.